Fruit and veggies are supposed to be the healthy option. But what if I was to tell you that Australia's fruit and vegetables are sprayed with chemicals that are considered so dangerous they're banned around the world? I've spent a hellish few weeks witnessing the effects of these poisons in other countries, and it's a horror show. I've met a young man with no eyes, seen fish with two heads, trekked to a village full of horribly deformed children. And I visited a farm on Queensland's Sunshine Coast where the animals are dying. Worst of all, the people who are supposed to be protecting us are pretending it's not happening.
I hope you're very proud of what you're doing.
Gwen Gilson is mad as hell.
What poisons are you using today, sir?
Armed only with her video camera, this Queensland fish breeder is trying to protect her home from potentially deadly chemicals being sprayed on the macadamia farm next door.
My animals have died from the chemicals that you macadamia farmers are using, and they deformed tens of millions of embryos.
That's your opinion, Gwen. I mean, it's up to you to prove that. If you've got a case, it's up to you to prove that.
But it just takes time. We just want you to stop killing in the meantime.
I'm not killing. I'm not killing.
So you believe you're being poisoned?
Yes.
For Gwen Gilson, it began with this horrifying discovery. Fish embryos born with two heads.
This is an Australian bass that's got two heads.
Then her farm animals began to fall sick and die.
Oh, and this is Tootie. He's only been out for a little while. He can't walk. He's shaking. His eyes are twitching.
We're pretty scared. I've buried 3 horses.
There's a stiffness in her gait.
No. All of the other animals, Jackson, my dog included, the ducks and the chooks, have all got something wrong with their blood. And now I've got a problem with my liver too.
None of it made sense. For 20 years, Gwen Gilson had successfully bred fish at her Sunland hatchery at Noosa on the Sunshine Coast.
Everywhere you look, there's just dead fish.
Well, you macadamia farmers have got a hell of a lot to answer for.
But Gwen's battle goes way beyond her boundary fence. It may have repercussions for us all. As you'll see, the impact of these farm chemicals, endosulfan and carbendazim, can be disastrous. And in most places throughout the world, their use is illegal.
When 62 countries go ahead and ban a chemical, they don't do it on a whim. They do it based on data and out of concern for their people and their environment. In Australia, we either have less concern for our people and environment, and I think that's the core root of it all, is we simply have less regard.
I love fruit and vegetables, but now I am worried about what might have been sprayed on them, because foods like avocados, potatoes, tomatoes, broccoli, capsicum, cauliflower, even eggplant are all regularly sprayed with a pesticide called endosulfan. And other fruits and vegetables, including one of my favourites, strawberries, are sprayed with a fungicide called carbendazim. Both these poisons have been banned or withdrawn from sale from so many countries around the world. But here in Australia, those poisons are used on the food that you and I eat every day. I don't think the average person knows what chemicals they may be exposed to.
Well, that's correct, because you look at it, if you buy a tin of food in the supermarket, it's got to have listed all the chemicals that's on it. You go and buy fresh fruit, vegetables or nuts, and there is nowhere that it tells you what chemicals have been used to produce it. Surely, you know, we should be in a society where we're allowed to make a choice.
You've been to Sunland Hatchery and conducted exhaustive tests. Do you believe farm chemicals are killing Gwen Gilson's fish?
Yes, I think it's the most likely cause of all of the syndromes that have been observed.
Scientist Matt Landos is the specialist fish vet Gwen employed to investigate. Where are these chemicals coming from?
The ones immediately on the farm are likely to come from the closest source, which is a neighbouring macadamia plantation.
But it was Gwen who made an even more disturbing discovery.
There you can see his two heads fairly clearly.
She found fish taken from the nearby Noosa River, which flows through the region's farmlands, were producing severely deformed embryos.
You can actually see the, I don't know, is it a heartbeat or a pulse of some kind in the yolk sac?
Further tests detected chemicals like carbendazim and endosulfan were now in the local lake and river system. Chemicals known to cause birth defects in humans.
Carbendazim is a fungicide, but it's quite well published that it affects the development of the embryo. Carbendazim affects human fetuses.
When you look at the birth defects, I've actually got little silver perch that were born without eyes, and that is one of the side effects of carbendazim.
Side effects that the rest of the world is well aware of.
I want to see the colour of the sky.
In the UK, 24-year-old Khalid Memon believes his exposure to carbendazim is to blame for his disabilities.
I want to see the rain, and I want weather to go and hear my fame.
I had a very healthy pregnancy, and it was only when he was born that his father said, "Why hasn't he opened his eyes?"
There's the swing. You're going to turn around?
Yes.
His mother, Javeria, had no idea there were any problems until Khalid was born.
That's it.
They took him away, and then they took me up to a room. And then they came in and said, "Oh, sorry, we've got some bad news. Your son's blind." And his father said, "What do you mean?" And they said, "Well, he hasn't got any eyes."
Okay.
I like this walking frame.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
The family used Benlate, a carbendazim-related product, in the garden.
I would have been spraying it in the very early stages of my pregnancy.
And what was the purpose of the spraying? What kind of things were you spraying in the garden?
It was a fungicide. You know, so you spray roses, you spray apple trees, you spray vegetables. You spray something quite happily because there's no warnings on it.
Bonjour.
Javeria and Khalid joined 11 others in a class action suing the manufacturer DuPont for damages.
Pris de temps.
But both mother and son refused an offer of $150,000 to settle the case.
C'est vous.
He's got brain damage. He's got brain lesions. He's got a malfunctioning pituitary, which means he never became a man. Never became a man. He won't ever become a man.
But if you want even more proof of the shocking effect of these farm chemicals on humans, you need go no further than the state of Kerala in India. They call this God's own country, and I can understand why. It's one of the more beautiful parts of India's countryside. But what's been happening here over the past few years has been nothing short of a horror story. These cashew nut plantations have been sprayed with a pesticide, tons of the stuff, year after year. And the residue would wash down these hills and into the local water supply. The villagers were told it was harmless, but that was not true. The pesticide was endosulfan, and the locals were being slowly and horribly poisoned. In this remote corner of India, the human suffering goes largely unseen. In the village of Padre, Dr. Mohan Kumar is doing his rounds.
He's got a lot of determination nowadays.
These young patients live in or near the local cashew nut plantations, and it was Dr. Kumar who first realised they were victims of endosulfan poisoning. Are you convinced that's the case?
Yeah, definitely.
No doubt?
No doubt about that one. And later on, it was scientifically proved here.
It's 5 years now since the plantation was forced to stop spraying, and the state government agreed to pay compensation. But for the victims, it's a lifetime of suffering. So the deformity of the hand is an example?
It's by birth, no? It's a classical case.
So many people in this district are treated for central nervous system disorders, appalling skin conditions, mental retardation, cancers, dreadful deformities, cerebral palsy, liver problems, all attributed to endosulfan. The same chemical found in the drinking water of Gwen Gilson's neighbours in Noosa.
Okay, we're trying to make a bit of smoke.
Meanwhile, the macadamia farmer is spraying again.
I don't know if the smoke will show up on the camera, but they're spraying from behind the fire.
So Gwen is lighting smoke fires on her own property to show the wind could be blowing the spray back over her fish ponds.
There's my sheds coming straight over my hatchery. Look at it all.
Farmer Troy Zeisema refused to be interviewed, but maintains the chemicals he's using stay on his side of the fence.
It's unbelievable. Bloody
See that, Troy? It's going the wrong way.
serial bloody killers.
Absolutely. There's Troy. He's taking off now because he doesn't want to see the wind going the wrong way. I'm shaking so much now. I'm so bloody... This is just absolutely wrong. What is wrong with the bloody world today?
These are where your very last fish are, huh? This is now a Gwen and Goliath battle. She's up against a powerful industry and a pitifully slow-moving pesticides regulator. She has alerted us all to the dangers of farm chemicals. But it's come at a terrible personal cost. Why not leave?
I've got nowhere to go. I guess that's sort of one of the worst things. This is my home. It's really terrible that I've lost all my horses, my pets, my dog. Just stop it.
It's taken a terrible toll.
Yeah. And it's no, you know, I mean, if you look around, it's really a beautiful place to live, isn't it? But there's nothing nice about it anymore. It's like paradise lost.
Australia's pesticides regulator is responsible for keeping us safe from such toxic chemicals. Unfortunately, no one from the APVMA, as it's known, would agree to be interviewed about the overwhelming evidence we've presented tonight.
Hello, I'm Tom Steinford. Thank you for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes, which are on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.